4 hours and 10 minutes before owners of XL bully dogs have to register their pets, or by midday today they will risk losing them and they'll get a criminal record. There are more than 30,000 dogs registered for an exemption certificate so far, and that's of course after the government banned the breed following a spate of attacks on humans.
Yeah, so at midday today it means it'll be illegal to own one without the relevant paperwork, and they'll need to be on a lead and muzzled in public. Dog trainer Kay Taiwo is here with her XL bully, Niger. She feels the new rules might lead to more attacks because the dogs won't get the exercise they need. Dr. Sam Gaines from the RSPCA is also with us this morning. Kay, you've brought Niger in. I mean, she couldn't look more sort of docile right at the moment. Oh, she knows we're talking about her. You've got her muzzled already. What else have you had to do by the deadline?
So I had to get the insurance. I got the exemption. I did mine like a week after the thing came out.
How much did that cost?
So it was 90 something, like £95 or something along that amount.
For the registration?
Yeah, and then you have to pay £25 with Dogs Trust to get like a companionship thing, which includes personal, like public liability insurance.
Right.
So you have to get those two things in order for you. And then you have to get your dog neutered as well.
So she's sterilised?
Yeah, so she's worked, like, I have an appointment booked for her.
With
so
bitches and dogs?
Everyone. Every boy and dogs have.
So she is the last generation of XL, is it? As all the other dogs, XL dogs in the country are. We won't have any more bred.
No more, yeah.
No. And when you take her out, she has to be muzzled in public, and you have to keep her on the lead. And is she microchipped?
Yeah.
Right. But so you're doing everything right. Why are you still concerned?
Because even if we take away this ban and we talk about dogs, we understand that dogs need exercise.
Yeah.
Dogs need correct, nutrition. They need to get this, they need to get that.
But you're taking her, we see the pictures here.
Yeah.
Take her for a walk.
Yeah, this is even old footages where you see how she's, like, going out and, like, we have fun.
Yeah,
now...
why would dogs like her and all the other people who registered their dogs as you have, why are they going to get less exercise? I don't see the link.
So, for example, some dogs like her, she likes to play with a stick, she likes to play with a ball. Now, that is taken away from her.
Because she's on a lead.
Exactly. And even the muzzle as well.
So they can't run around.
So they can't run around, and they can't even if it was like a ball and I was holding her on a leash, she can't do that either.
Right, now why does that make her more aggressive?
It's not going to make her more aggressive, but it's like for any dog, any breed, if you do not give them correct exercise, the adequate exercise that they need, it will cause problems, behavioral problems.
Well, you said specifically it'll lead to more attacks. So can you make that connection for us?
I would say that it would lead to more attacks if the dog has pent-up energy. Like, once again, this is how this behavior starts in the first place for a lot of dogs. Behavioral problems come from lack of energy, lack of understanding from the owner what they need to do to make sure that their dog is fulfilled. So a lot of XL bullies, look how big they are. They need more exercise than a Chihuahua. And if we're not able to give that dog the run, the jump, the this that they need, this is possible for them to have more behavioral issues at home.
Niger couldn't look less aggressive.
Yeah.
You yourself could not look less threatening.
Yeah.
But we do know, we see them, that there are owners of these dogs, this particular breed, who... they both look aggressive. You get these, big hulking guys, and they look and they walk and they talk aggressive. You see them. And the dogs are aggressive as well. Why do you want a dog like that? I
think that's a misconception. I think that we have to remember XL bully was almost like what's the word? Like famous at the time for negative things. Same way the Rottweiler at some stage, the Doberman. There's times in the UK when a lot of people had Rottweilers or Dobermans, right? Nowadays, you hardly see these dogs. And even before the ban, I'll be so real, the whole phase of people getting XL bullies was already dying down, and people were already moving on to the next fad. So it's really just a fad, and that's why people are like, oh, I heard the XL bully's big and this and that. And people who want to seem, like you said, aggressive or want to come across in that way will think, oh, let me go buy the dog. Then they buy the dog and they realize, oh, it's not actually built to be aggressive. Now they're looking for the next best aggressive thing.
The trouble is, though, of course, and Niger looks complete. I mean, she's even whimpering a little bit as we're talking about the breed. But the fact of the matter is, if Niger decided to change her mood, and I'm sure you would say she wouldn't, but if a dog of her stature did, I wouldn't be able to defend myself
I think
against
that
an
we have
attack.
to remember all dogs, regardless of the breed, and they were created for a reason. I think nowadays people think pets or dogs were created solely to kiss and cuddle. That's not the case. Jack Russell is bred to kill.
Yeah.
That is what they're bred to do.
She's a muscular animal, isn't she? And the fact of the matter is, you know, I'm more than comfortable being in, you know, the space of Niger, but there are others I wouldn't be. And as we know, 22,000 cases of injuries from out-of-control dogs in general in 2022, Dr. Sam Gaines. 6 of the 10 fatal dog attacks in that year, 60% of the fatal dog attacks in 2022 were linked to XL bullies. So Niger, an excellent example, a well-behaved dog, but unfortunately, too many were not behaving themselves and the results were fatal.
Yeah, and the RSPCA absolutely agrees that we needed urgent action to be taken. You know, nobody wants dangerous dogs in communities. We want animals that are living in our homes that make good family pets are happy and healthy. And this actually is one of the reasons why we oppose this particular approach that's been taken by the UK government, because when we look at what causes aggressive behaviour in dogs, it is not a question of breed. It is around how they've been bred, how they've been reared and their lifetime experiences. And Niger is a really good example of a dog that, given the right circumstances, makes a really good family pet.
So what would you do? Supposing you were in charge. You were in that section of government making this policy. What would your policy be? Well, how would you deal with the problem?
So we would absolutely want to be tackling the root causes of aggressive behaviour. So we'd want to clamp down on irresponsible breeding. What we've seen as a response to these dogs and a rise in popularity is individuals exploiting them, using them as valuable commodities. That goes hand in hand with poor breeding, poor rearing, and makes the likelihood of them using aggressive behaviour more. And then they've been attracted to certain individuals in society that want a dog that poses risk. So we'd also want the existing legislation to be used. So where there are concerns around individual dogs and their owner, we can take action, intervene at an early stage and actually prevent incidents from happening.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter, though, is that what happens today at midday is going to cut down on the numbers of these dogs. They won't be able to breed. There will be insurance, there will be registration, they'll be microchipped. It's far less likely that the wrong owners are going to have these dogs.
Potentially, but I think what we've also got to look at as well is that whilst we've had breed-specific legislation in this country for the past 32 years, we have seen a rise year on year of people being admitted into hospital for dog bites. So this approach
But if 60% of the fatal cases are due to this dog and we start to phase out this dog, that's surely going to lead to fewer fatal attacks.
But what we'll also see is sections of society moving on to different large, powerful
that's what
dogs.
I was going to ask you about. That's what she predicts. The people who want to have aggressive dogs because they want to be threatening and they want to use them as weapons, and they do, they're out there. What kind of breed are they going to move on to?
We don't know. I mean, but we always see...
Well, what would you guess? What would your prediction be?
Another large, powerful breed of dog. And I think it's very difficult at this point to predict what that will be. But we certainly see this when we look back in time.
How long would it take to establish a breed like that to be widely available?
I mean, I think if the unfortunate situation that we have is that if there are individuals out there that want certain types of dogs, there are always people that will supply that. And this is absolutely why we've got to tackle irresponsible breeding, why we've got to make sure that we are targeting those individuals that are exploiting dogs in this way. OK,
so you're saying the legislation effectively isn't going to work because they're simply going to move on to other types of aggressive dog, which aren't at this stage illegal. What about the negative aspect of this for the animals themselves? I know you're concerned about people just basically chucking them off bridges.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, the RSPCA is hugely concerned about what happens to dogs that are used for these particular purposes. We know that when individuals are attracted to certain types of dogs for reasons, say, intimidating, threatening, harming people, it often goes hand in hand with real cruel behaviour, and the RSPCA sees the outcome of that. And it is absolutely heartbreaking because so many of these dogs actually make really, really lovely
But what I meant was
pets.
people today who can't be bothered, simply can't be bothered to register their dogs, will simply chuck them away. You're concerned about that? That's
my problem is, like, we have to remember the type of people you're talking about are the type of people who are probably not going to follow the legislation. So these dogs, like, although they're meant to be neutered, this, that, and like, some people are just not going to do anything.
OK.
Just in order to stop that happening, because I know that even this month in South Yorkshire, an XL bully dog was found dead below the A57 flyover, I'm sorry, Niger, near Bayton in South Yorkshire. And RSPCA investigators fear that she was thrown from the bridge to her death, found with a muzzle still on her face. I mean, it's just absolutely shocking. What can people do if they haven't got the money to register, they haven't got the money to microchip, they haven't got the money to insure? What should they do with their dogs today, you know, as the deadline approaches?
Well, we would absolutely urge people that haven't gone through the exemption process to make sure they do by noon today. If they're concerned about neutering costs, there is help out there to cover that. But it is absolutely critical. If people have not got their dogs registered by noon today, they will be illegal as of tomorrow, and it risks having their dogs seized, and they could have a criminal record against them.
And vets are euthanising, aren't they? That's one of the
It's a very small number so far that has been euthanised, yes.
Well, thank you both for coming in and talking
Thank
about
you.
it. As you say, you've got until midday today if you've got one of these to get it registered. If you haven't done so already.
Nigel, I wish we could have muzzled your ears as we had that interview. Thank you.